I don't think I ever really believed everything.
And I realized that quite a few of the things didn't hold water.
The actual religions were man-made from wherever.
God? Who's God? What's God?
I think skepticism really is the first step.
Scientific zest and zeal for the real world.
That was it. I was an atheist from then on.
My major was mathematics and computer science. At graduate school here, I was a teaching assistant.
Hi, I'm Rad.
Hi, I'm Susan, and this is our friend Amy here to tell us about her road to atheism. Welcome.
Welcome, Amy. Okay. Amy's a little shy, but she's going to do her best to explain what her experience was going through this when she was a child. And I think that's the best place to start as you would grow up. What influenced you? Before you even say that, what is your background? Where you?
I was born in China, central China.
Mm-hmm. And the religion over there that your parents and you around them was?
My parents are kind of like secular. I think I would say atheists. My father, especially my father, he's kind of like he's enjoying story of like how to killing a ghost, but he doesn't really think that it's something supernatural.
Right.
And that's how I grew up. And
so the influence, the experience that you were under was basically from your parents, and they were basically atheists. Your father was more of the one that's pronounced as far as being
he liked fairy tales,
the person who was against all the ghost stories and stuff like that, and would attack that.
Well, yes, but actually, China is a secular country. Most people don't believe in God, and they may believe in many gods, like God of land, God of like sea, but they don't really have a universal God, and especially a lot of people don't take God anything like a spiritual too much in their real life. They are mostly like seculars. Yes. Some are Buddhist.
Buddhist, right. Would you say that reason for that was that part political?
Well, even yes,
on the Mao,
but communists occupied the country in 1949, starting 1949. But even before that, China is a secular country.
Yes.
So, Buddhism is the most popular religion over there, but not a lot of people believe in that. So.
Well, China is the most populated country on our planet. Some 8 billion, or not, excuse me, it's 4 billion,
not quite
right?
yet.
I think it's 4 billion. We have a planet of
1.3 billion right now.
Oh boy, 1.3 billion? That's a lot.
It's a big country, though, so it's not just one China.
The 7 billion is the population of the whole Earth, so I don't want to make that mistake in there.
Majority of Chinese are Han, and we have minorities. But overall, it's a big country, a lot of people.
Big country.
Right. Because it's so big, and because you have many different groups of population, you have many languages and of course, we only over here know of the maybe two that exist.
Mandarin and
Cantonese, but there's a lot more, and many dialects. How's the communication there between the different groups?
Okay. Yeah, most people speak Mandarin, and Cantonese, I don't speak Cantonese at all, and I did not really try to speak Cantonese. And also we have a lot of local dialect in the south. And also we have language belong to the minorities, such as Mongolian.
Mongolian, right.
But overall, on the radio and at school, people learn Mandarin Chinese.
Okay,
so that would be like the almost like English is to India with all the little sub-dialects. You have Mandarin and then a lot of little other dialects depending on the region.
I think in China it's more like unified. People use Mandarin. And
Okay, so would you say as far as trade is concerned, business is concerned, scientific background and schooling, education, it would be Mandarin?
Yes, and a lot of people, I think maybe, I would say maybe 80% people who can only speak Mandarin well. Like me, I speak some Chinese in local dialogue if I'm in my hometown, but most of the time I speak Mandarin and Mandarin only, and my local dialogue is like a northern dialogue. It's like the difference is like maybe Scottish English and English, so people understand each other.
What about the written language? Is it the same whether it's Mandarin or Cantonese, or does each language have its own writing, its own, those alphabet? No, not an alphabet. They don't have. They have the characters.
Yeah.
Dialogue from like Han Chinese. We have used the same written language, Chinese characters.
So one newspaper, both sides languages can read.
Both languages, but not the minority people from Tibet or from
elsewhere.
Other minority, not Han. Han is a big region, so a lot of people Han Chinese from South, they speak dialogue. Especially in New York City, we have people from Wenzhou, people from Fujian. I don't understand them at all.
And we tend to lump them all together, unfortunately.
But they all speak Mandarin, so we have no problem communicating.
A lot of restaurants, Chinese restaurants that I've gone into, you will see on the wall like a picture or a statue on there. It's sort of like a ceremonial thing, and they'll have the incense and whatnot. What that would be of what religion?
I think that's Asian Chinese God. Like I say, like God of land, God of sea, and I think what they use maybe God for fortune.
God for fortune, which is that's where the joy luck comes in.
Right.
God for fortune. Okay, your parents when they spoke to you about that, especially your father. Okay, because he was the one who was most active in that.
Yes.
And non-traditional, a secular person. What did he tell you? What did he tell you that seemed to make sense to where you could see false things from one thing or another that's written or told as far as religion is concerned compared to what the facts are? Yeah. What did he say?
My father is a very smart, very wise man, I think. And
sounds like it.
Yeah, I had my own room when I was maybe 5-6 years old. I have a big desk, and he put the 3 maps on the wall. This side we have Chinese history, so I see 5,000 years history, and each emperor is dynasty, and the second map is the Chinese map. So I know the country, I know each province, and. The railway, because I was very small. I jumped over I was climbing on the desk and I working on the desk, checking the map, each city, each town. And also the third map is world map. So I know all the countries. And
so you had the history, you had the local map area, and then you had the world map.
Yes.
Well, that's very good. So you got to cover geography.
Yeah, basically I have like the view of the world when I was very, very young. So...
So you got a good grasp of it, that it wasn't flat.
That's right. It's important. That's true. That it is a sphere, a globe. Okay. The influence of your father played a big role in your life?
Yes.
Okay.
How about your mother?
My mother, she's very hardworking. She loved us so much. And... but overall, my father take lead in the family. My mother was very eager to follow him all the time. So she's like a traditional Chinese woman, and normally the man took lead and the woman follows.
She was traditional.
She was.
Yeah.
What
I
type
follow.
of work did your father do?
My father, she was in the Air Force. He was an officer in the Air Force for maybe 27 years.
Was he a pilot?
No, she was like a kind of support for pilot. He wished to be a pilot. He almost was there. And then my first dream, actually, my second dream was to be a pilot. And because he said, he always said, okay, grow up to be a female, to be a female pilot, something like that. He's like rocking me like on air and
Maybe even be an astronaut.
In America,
cousin of it.
when you're in the Air Force, the Armed Forces, you move a lot. Did you move a lot as a child in China, or were you stationed in one place for the whole childhood?
actually we stationed in one place all the time. But see, my father is from like North China. My mother was from Sichuan. And when I grew up, I was born in Central China, which is like Kaifeng. And it's an Asian city. So pretty much I went to school until I'm 18. So I grew up over there. But my family members, relatives are in back to Shanxi, my father's hometown and my mother's hometown. So my father, he actually after he left the army, he was a school officer.
And he
Like a supervisor.
Oh, a supervisor.
Supervisor.
He didn't teach. He
No, he didn't. He was a supervisor at school.
In your education in school, did you was science predominant as far as the studies are concerned?
I think I was lucky. I was not born too early. Yes, because in China there was a Cultural Revolution.
Yes.
People who born before
1930s, 1940s.
That was
Mao Zedong.
1960s.
Okay.
there was the Mao.
The Mao. There was a Cultural Revolution.
The
School
purge.
closed,
The purge.
play
They used to have the
Right.
the party of 12, what it was called, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
Yes.
And I just started my elementary school couple days. Then my mom died. So basically, I have as to school, as to education, I have a pretty formal one. So school never stopped for some kind of political movement, never. And then I started to dream to go to college when I was secondary school student, and then there was time they opened the college entrance exam, so it's like a nationwide, and at beginning was only 2%, 3% graduate, high school graduate can get into college.
You know, what's interesting, I find in China, and they do it today, is that a person or people who have a particular skill or interest or talent, and once they find that, they sort of have a road and guidance where that's what they develop into. We see it in the Olympics. We see it in many different sports that their training will be that from childhood all the way through the time that they're highly competitive. You know, at what age did you notice anything like that?
That's like a Russian style, because in Russia, people, athletes and musicians, I think they got the training from very early years.
Musicianship, right?
Right, but Chinese, they have the same model. I mean, sometimes they produce very good athlete, and I don't know, it's a good way to do that or not. But sometimes the talents came out. So,
But that didn't affect you or anything.
I was a pretty good student when I was at school, and especially math and
in medicine.
Mathematics.
Mathematics. Very interesting.
We started to do competition when I was at elementary school. So we have competition all the way through high school.
So were you fortunate? Did you get into college?
Yes, I Yes, I was pretty good, and I went to one of the best high schools. So I think by the time it was only like 60% graduates can get into college. My high school, like maybe 90% people will go to college.
Yes.
It's very, very good. And the discipline and training over there is certainly different. You notice that. I think there was a controversy of one of the Chinese Asian mother that came over to America.
Oh, yes.
And she was very disciplined. She was a disciplinarian to her children, and I think there was some controversy about that. So my question is this: you're single, married, okay? Do you feel that that was exaggerated too much, or do you feel that's something that's important? For example, a lot of your world's best pianists, in addition to violinists, the young children, you can see that their training and background. What is your opinion about that?
I think in younger generation, like especially after Chinese government have this one-child policy.
Yes, unfortunately.
Kids are forced to learn everything. They started the education early. They started play piano, violin, but most people, they are not very talented.
Yeah.
I mean, anything you want to achieve, I mean, you have to work hard and you have to have the talent.
Right.
So then at school, Chinese school, not like American, like football, kids will be very popular. We always like Nordic boys are popular. So who study well, who will be very popular at school, and the teacher like that. So that's why sometimes but I think overall that's good, actually.
I think so too.
Oh, it certainly is. We see it in the Olympics, I'll tell you that, for one thing. And we also see the prodigy children playing, they are involved with orchestral background and playing of music instruments. And I'm just saying a few things. There are many things.
And the scary thing is that if the creationists get their way, and no longer is science taught in our schools, we're going to become a third-rate country as China and India and other countries. They teach their children science and math from an early age. And so the creationists are actually saboteurs and traitors because they are making America fall backwards.
This is so true. In French, agent de provocateur. What happens is that they become saboteurs at hurting our own country in the future because they lack science. They want religion involved, especially the what's called the biblical South, the Bible Belt area. Yeah. So that's something that obviously is
as opposed to China, which likes to teach science and encourages children to learn.
We're fighting an immigration policy from politics, and I won't even get into that. But that's where we're going backwards, and other countries are going forward.
Two things I would like to mention. First, the Chinese students, especially who came here, most of them are very smart. They are the top of Chinese people, and they came here basically. They like this country, and you think they're too smart just because they were very top in China.
So we see all the creme de la creme over here that come over here to this country.
Right, not every Chinese smart.
Okay, I understand what you're saying now. Well, we certainly see them as being smart because we see the best that come over here. Saying
another thing about education, especially math education, because I was my major was mathematics and computer science. At graduate school here, I was a teaching assistant, so I see a lot of American.
What school was that?
Marquette University.
Marquette, okay. Right.
So, the American kids here, it's like maybe because I'm not 100% sure because the college entrance is.
That you get our creme de la creme.
Right. Yes. Some of students were good. They're perfect. But some of students, in my eye, the math level, if I send back, cannot graduate from like maybe elementary schools level. They are college students here. Some of them even major in engineering.
Engineering and other type of
surely they won't be able to get everything well. They have a very bad score, but
they need more
training.
training, and that's why you have your junior colleges that the
Yes.
president's trying to say.
Yes.
That is being emphasized now, and hopefully from just not only State of the Union, but will be practiced and
Well,
will be
probably we'll
monies
have
will
to
be put
wait
into
2
that.
years till
We'll see.
till
It's
things
going to be
change.
important.
Yes.
Because we have to compete on a worldwide level.
Yes.
Right? And
Yes.
you cannot have inadequacy. You cannot have the people with that type of background where they're not disciplined and where they're not getting the best of studies when they can at the young age.
Right.
The educational level, the training, the teachers, there's so many different things that are involved in developing that child to be able to compete in a competitive world.
Right.
Right?
Yes.
Okay. Now, how did you know about New York City Atheists?
I know ACES, this group from Meetup. Yeah, I tried to find ACES skeptic Meetup, and I found this one. I joined. Then I received newsletters.
Yes.
If that's a gathering, if there's any meetup, sometimes I went to learn.
And you saw tabling.
Yes, you've been at tabling.
I've been tabling.
Right. Very good. You liked it?
Yes.
Good. Okay. Well, that's
It's,
good.
it's enjoyable. You know,
Yeah,
you sit there and you chat to people, you chat to your fellow atheists, or you chat to people you meet, and sometimes you chat to the other side, the religious, and you
It
know,
can be a challenge at times,
Yes.
but that's what it's all about, and it's so rewarding when all of a sudden things click, and you can see it. You can almost feel it. We invite them to sit down. We are not confrontational. We ask them, "Well, why do you feel the way you do?" And they tell us, and you are experienced that. You're a witness to that. And then all of a sudden, we mention different things scientifically or factually, and of the different values of that nature, and they start to say, "Well, that makes sense." Didn't think of it that way from that perspective, and that's all we need. Just that little
just a little seed of doubt.
That's right. And so it takes it from that point on. Would you like to say something to fellow countrymen or Chinese or anything else that you may want to mention as to where to meet and what it's all about in your language?
When I just came to the state, people telling me it's better say you are religious. They believe in something. Otherwise, it's not good to be an atheist. But the thing, because I couldn't understand why. I mean, obviously there should be no God, and why do people believe in God? And if you don't believe it, you're not good.
well, they're brainwashed
You
as
don't have
children.
moral.
Yeah.
This country, and you're right, you got to be careful. You have to watch it when you're working. You don't know the background, and unfortunately, this is still a very religious country, even as modern as it is with weaponry and the $500 billion they're trying to get for more weapons now. This is the budget, would you believe, for that? And half $1 trillion.
Eisenhower was right.
This is right. This is a military-industrial
Complex.
And this is a complex, and that's a big threat.
Which he warned us
Right.
which he warned us against
He warned
in
us.
the 50s.
That's right. So
And it's-
that's something that obviously comes into play. But the point being is that you have to be careful with whom you talk to in getting those points across, because you never know. It is still a very religious country. And we understand that, but we have to let people know that our secular values are paramount. This is what our Constitution is based on.
Yes.
Okay? So we don't recognize any one particular religion, but yet we allow all religions to practice what they want. And that's the way it should be, and with no influence when it comes to secular values of education and a lot of other social needs. Everybody has.
Well, unfortunately, they don't agree with that. So they are trying to
There's your tug. There's
get into
your,
education and get into
They
our
are.
government and make laws.
and we have to be wary of that.
Yes.
We have to be very careful about those type of things. Whenever we see it, we take the challenge and we make sure that's done. You have any
I
questions?
have a question. Did you notice that in China there were people feeling that they were missing something because they weren't religious or didn't believe in God? Was there any? People were basically happy in the way they were looking at their faith, their morality, etc. Were they satisfied with it, or was there? Were they looking? Are they searching?
That's a good question. Because I do see sometimes people, right now, I think there's a lot of people started to believe in God. And yes, in some parts of China, people start to believe in God because before, like 20 years before, not many people, especially like a religious gathering, sometimes is controlled by the government. Right now, more and more people doing that. But the thing is, if you are educated, you know what the world is, the universe, right? The facts. How can you believe in God? And how can you live in a life and guided by God and not be yourself?
But it is scary because I was reading recently about a case in China where there is a cult that believes in some, I believe it's some form of Christianity. And this woman, they were trying to get her personal information from her.
Oh and she God, wouldn't everything?
I read a lot. They beat her up. They killed her. And so they've recently, they caught the cult members put them on trial, and 2 of them were recently executed. But that can be scary if,
Yeah. In other words, there's a backlash when it's too openly secular, if you were, pushing one point of view, and that is still secularism is a point of view, even though it makes the most sense, and it is of worldview for advanced countries. You still, if it's pushed too heavy, you can have a backlash, and I think the backlash is what we're talking about. You've got to be very careful how it's done. Feed the medicine, feed it in properly.
Yeah, U.S. is a country. Well, China, we may say Chinese secular country, but we don't have the democracy as good as what we have
exactly.
here.
Well, not yet.
That's a
but
good point.
Who knows in
democracy
the future?
compared to an authoritarian type state.
But one thing I'm very confident. I think by the day I'm 80, atheists will be the majority. Like we have like 20 or 30 years, 40 years to go. So
Yes.
Okay. Well, we want to thank you very much. You're a brilliant person. You have good ideas. You're working in the right community, and we welcome you here, and we welcome you with our organization as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you.